Hello, and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Life Saving Cars. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our free channel. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure you click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great way to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities. There are more than 100 stars to choose from, and you can purchase a live call starting out at just $19.95. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. Our sources are telling us there is a new category of cars out there that are growing quickly in sales and demand, and people are starting to find out about them. Some of these individuals are referring to them as life-saving cars. Others are referring to them as habitable cars. Now, the name life-saving is a bit of a double entendre. That's because even though they can have strong crash worthiness ratings, that's not really why they're being called life-saving cars. They're being called life-saving cars because they can be the option of last resort for people who no longer have a home or an apartment to live in. These cars can save your life by putting a roof over your head for people who are willing or need to live out of them. Now, used life-saving cars are being sought out by people in financial distress because they can live in these cars when they can't afford any place else to live or anybody else to live with. If you're living by yourself or you have a family to take care of and your options have gone to zero, then you want to consider the possibility of living out of a life-saving car simply because it makes sense on a lot of levels. So what does a life-saving car have? What qualities must it possess to be a life-saving car? Well, there are a number of criteria. First of all, it has to have significant interior space for you or your entire family to live in. That usually means buying a used SUV or a station wagon or a minivan. If you have enough money, then you should also consider purchasing an older used motorhome, just to have a roof over your head and some measure of safety. If you look at the streets of Beverly Hills, San Diego, Venice Beach, or Los Angeles, you will see that many of the streets for miles around have countless SUVs and motorhomes and other cars parked there. And there are families living in these vehicles. They're acting as a temporary home for these poor people because without them, they would be living on the sidewalk or on the beach. The next feature you want to have on one of these vehicles is a car alarm of some sort, because if you live in that vehicle for most of the day and you have to step away for a couple of hours just to take care of things, if you don't have an alarm of some sort, there's a good possibility it'll be broken into and some of your possessions stolen by the time you get back. So consider getting a car alarm. The next thing you want to make sure that the vehicle has is four-wheel drive. Why is that? Because if you can't find a parking spot in the city, and there's a good chance that that may be happening now because there are just so many people living in their cars on the streets now, then you may have to go further out of the city and live someplace that may require a four-wheel drive just to access the area. The next thing you want to do, if you have to get a life-saving car, is to buy a used car with a great reliability record, a car that won't break down every 2 weeks. And that usually means buying a used Honda or Toyota. These cars last forever and they're extremely reliable. The next thing you want to do when you're buying a life-saving car or converting your current vehicle into a life-saving car is to make sure it has working air conditioning and heat. Because if you're homeless and living in your car week after week, month after month, then those things can be life-sustaining. Next, you want a vehicle with 3 rows of seats if possible. and preferably one where you can fold down one or two of the back rows and create a good sleeping area for the kids. That'll be really important. Nobody likes to think that something like having to live out of a car can happen to them, but heaven forbid, if it does, then you'll really appreciate selecting the right used car or owning the right used car or vehicle in order to survive in until your options improve. With that, I want to thank you for watching. I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the future. So we encourage you to subscribe to our free channel and click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you soon. Bye-bye.